I was sitting in my car outside our house staring at my phone finger, hovering over the call button. Lauren. That was her name. The woman whose life I was about to blow apart. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. Through the living room window, I could see Sarah on the couch, completely unaware of what was coming. 3 weeks ago, our life looked perfect, happy, normal. Then, I found the messages on her phone. Now here I was, about to end everything. Before I tell you what happened next, I would love to know where you are watching this from. Drop your location in the comments below. And, if you are enjoying this story so far, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Trust me, you will want to hear how this all played out. Sarah and I had been married for 7 years. We met in college, fell in love at first sight, during a random philosophy class we both barely passed. She sat 2 rows ahead of me, always playing with her hair when she was thinking. I spent more time watching her than listening to the professor. Eventually, I worked up the courage to ask her out for coffee. That coffee turned into dinner, into a relationship. And 4 years later, we were standing at an altar, promising forever to each other. Our marriage felt like something out of a movie. I worked as a software engineer for a tech startup downtown, pulling decent money and genuinely enjoying what I did. Sarah worked in marketing for a mid-size advertising firm. We had our routines. Every morning we would wake up together, make coffee in our tiny kitchen, and talk about our plans for the day. She always added way too much cream to hers. I used to tease her about it, calling it sugar water with a hint of coffee. She would laugh and say, "That is how you make life sweeter." Evenings were our favorite time. We would cook dinner together, nothing fancy, just pasta, or stir-fry, whatever we felt like. Then, we would curl up on the couch and watch whatever show we were binging at the time. On weekends, we walked through the park near our house holding hands like teenagers. We talked about having kids someday, maybe in a year or two. We wanted to travel first, see Europe, maybe Asia. Life felt full of possibilities. Sarah was always vibrant, full of energy. She lit up every room she walked into. Her laugh was infectious. I trusted her completely, never once doubted her. Why would I? She was my best friend. My partner, the person I wanted to grow old with. Looking back now, I realize how naive that sounds. But that is what love does. It makes you blind to the things you should see. Then, about 3 months ago, things started changing. Small things at first. Sarah began working late more often. She would text me, saying she had to finish a presentation or sit in on a late meeting. I believed her, because I had no reason not to. Her company was launching a new campaign. It made sense. But then her phone became a fortress. She started keeping it face down all the time. She changed her password. When I asked about it casually, she said her company implemented new security protocols. Again, it sounded reasonable. She started paying more attention to her appearance too. New clothes appeared in her closet. She spent more time on her makeup in the mornings, wearing perfume I did not recognize. When I complimented her, telling her she looked beautiful, she smiled and said she wanted to feel more confident at work. I supported that. I thought it was great that she was investing in herself. I even encouraged her to buy more clothes if it made her happy. But our intimacy started fading. We went from making love a few times a week to maybe once every 2 weeks, then less. When I brought it up, Sarah said she was exhausted from work. The new campaign was draining her. She promised things would get better once the project wrapped up. I tried to be understanding. I did not want to pressure her, so I waited, thinking everything would return to normal soon. It was a Friday evening 3 weeks ago when my world shattered. I came home early because my team finished a major project ahead of schedule. My boss let us leave at 4 instead of 6. I was excited, thinking maybe Sarah and I could go out for dinner, reconnect a little. When I walked in, the house was quiet. I heard the shower running upstairs. Sarah's phone was sitting on the kitchen counter screen facing up. Then it buzzed. A message notification lit up the screen. "Cannot wait to see you tomorrow. I miss touching you." The sender's name was Derek. I stood there frozen, staring at those words. My brain refused to process what I was reading. It had to be a mistake. Maybe a friend joking around. But then, another message came through. Last night was incredible. You are amazing. My stomach dropped. My hands started shaking. I felt like someone had punched me in the gut, and I could not breathe. Without thinking, I picked up her phone. She had not changed the passcode completely. She still used her fingerprint, and I knew her backup pin. We never kept secrets. Or so I thought. I opened the messages. There was a whole thread. Weeks of conversations. Months, actually. Intimate messages. Sexual messages. Things that made me sick to my stomach. Sarah had sent him photos I had never seen. Pictures of her in lingerie I did not know she owned. The messages went back 3 months. Exactly when she started working late. Exactly when everything started changing. I heard the water shut off upstairs. Panic shot through me. I quickly put the phone back exactly where it was and walked to the living room. I sat down on the couch, trying to control my breathing, trying to make my face look normal. Sarah came out a few minutes later, hair wet, wearing her bathrobe. She smiled at me. "You are home early." "That is a nice surprise." I forced a smile. "Yeah, we finished the project." My voice sounded strange to my own ears. Sarah did not seem to notice. She started talking about her day, about some annoying client, about wanting to order Thai food for dinner. I nodded, said yes to everything, but I was not really there. My mind was screaming. My heart was breaking into pieces. The woman I loved, the woman I trusted with everything, had been lying to me for months. She was sleeping with someone else. And she was standing there smiling at me, acting like everything was fine. That night, I barely slept. Sarah lay next to me, breathing softly, completely at peace. Meanwhile, I was staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. Part of me wanted to wake her up right then and scream at her, demand answers. But another part, the logical part, told me to wait. I needed proof. Real proof. Not just messages that could be explained away. I needed to know everything before I confronted her. The next morning, I started my investigation. Every time Sarah took a shower or went out, I grabbed her phone and took screenshots of everything. Messages, photos, call logs. I saved it all to a cloud account she did not have access to. I felt dirty doing it, like I was violating her privacy. But she had already violated our marriage vows. This was just gathering evidence. Through the messages, I learned that Derek was not some random guy. He was a former colleague from Sarah's previous job. They had run into each other at a marketing conference 3 months ago. According to their texts, they had grabbed drinks after one of the sessions to catch up. One drink turned into several. They ended up in his hotel room that night. And it did not stop there. They had been meeting up regularly ever since. What made it worse was that Derek was married too. His wife's name was Lauren. They had 2 young kids. I found his social media profiles. There were pictures of him with his family smiling at birthday parties and beach vacations. Lauren looked happy, completely unaware that her husband was destroying their family. Just like I had been unaware. The more I discovered, the angrier I became. But I kept it inside. Every day, I woke up next to Sarah, made coffee with her, talked about mundane things. At night, I ate dinner with her, watched television, went to bed. All while knowing the truth. It was torture. Pure torture. But I forced myself to act normal, because I needed time to prepare. I contacted a divorce lawyer. I met with him during my lunch breaks at work. He was straightforward. With evidence of infidelity, the divorce would be relatively simple. We started preparing paperwork. I quietly began separating our finances. I transferred money from our joint account into a personal account I opened. I started looking for a new apartment. Everything had to be perfect before I made my move. During this time, I also made a decision about Lauren. She deserved to know. Just like I deserved to have known earlier. Maybe if someone had told me sooner, I could have saved myself months of being lied to. I found her number through mutual connections on social media. It was not hard. People share everything online these days. I decided I would call Lauren. First, tell her everything, send her proof. Then, I would confront Sarah. Give her the divorce papers. Leave. Clean break. No drawn-out fights. No begging for second chances. I was done. 3 weeks of sleeping next to someone who betrayed me was 3 weeks too long. I chose a Saturday to execute my plan. That morning, Sarah said she was going shopping with a friend. I knew she was lying. By this point, I could tell every time she lied. There was a certain look in her eyes, a slight hesitation in her voice. I just nodded and said, "Have fun." Once she left, I sat in my car in the driveway, phone in hand, Lauren's number on the screen. My finger hovered over the call button. This was it. Once I made this call, there was no going back. 2 families would explode. Lives would change forever. But I kept thinking about Lauren sitting at home, probably making lunch for her kids, completely oblivious to what her husband was doing. She had a right to know, just like I had wished someone had told me sooner. I looked up at our living room window. Everything looked peaceful from the outside. Our house with its blue shutters and white fence. The perfect picture of suburban happiness. But it was all a lie. Just a shell hiding rot underneath. I took a deep breath and pressed call. The phone rang once, twice. Then suddenly my car door flew open. Sarah was standing there, face white as a sheet, eyes wide with terror. She had not gone shopping. She must have forgotten something and come back. And she saw me sitting in the car, phone pressed to my ear, Lauren's name on the screen. "What are you doing?" she screamed. Her hand shot out and grabbed my phone, hitting the end call button before Lauren could answer. I sat there completely calm, looking up at her. The fear in her eyes was obvious. She knew. She knew I knew. "Who is Lauren? Why are you calling her?" Her voice was shaking, trying to sound confused, but we both knew she was not confused at all. She knew exactly who Lauren was. I did not say anything, just stared at her. Watching her panic was almost satisfying after weeks of pretending everything was fine. Sarah's breathing got faster. Her hands were trembling. She looked down at my phone, still clutched in her hand, then back at me. "Wesley, please. Talk to me. What is going on?" But her voice gave her away. She was not asking because she did not know. She was asking because she was terrified of what came next. I reached out calmly and took my phone back from her hand. She did not resist. "How long?" I asked. My voice was cold, detached, like I was asking about the weather. Sarah swallowed hard. "What do you mean? How long? What? How long have you been sleeping with Derek?" The color drained from her face completely. For a moment, she just stood there frozen. Then, her knees gave out. She collapsed onto the ground next to my car, her whole body shaking. I do not. Wesley, please." "How long?" I asked again, firmer this time. She looked up at me, tears starting to stream down her face. 2 months. Maybe 3. Her voice was barely a whisper. I let out a bitter laugh. "Try again." Sarah realized I knew everything. There was no point in lying anymore. She buried her face in her hands. "I am sorry. I am so sorry. It was a mistake. A huge mistake." The words tumbled out between sobs. "It meant nothing. I swear. I love you. Only you." I felt nothing but disgust. 3 months of lying to my face. 3 months of coming home from his bed and climbing into mine. 3 months of acting like everything was perfect while destroying our marriage behind my back. And now, she wanted me to believe it meant nothing. "Please, Wesley, do not do this. Please." She grabbed my arm, her nails digging into my skin. "I know what you think you know, but please let me explain. It was stupid. I will end it right now. Right this second. Just please do not call Lauren. Please." That made me angry. Not sad. Not hurt. Angry. "You are worried about Lauren. I pulled my arm away from her. You are worried about Derek's family. What about our family? What about us? I know, she sobbed. I messed up. I messed up so bad. But we can fix this. We can go to counseling. I will do anything. Anything you want. Just please, if you ever loved me, do not make that call. Do not tell his wife. Derek has kids. His family will be destroyed. I looked down at her. This woman I had loved for over a decade, kneeling on the ground begging me not to expose her affair. Not because she was sorry for what she did to me, but because she was worried about protecting her boyfriend's family. The irony was almost funny. I opened my car door and stepped out. Sarah scrambled to her feet, following me as I walked toward the house. Wesley, please talk to me. We can work through this. I will do anything. I did not respond. Just walked inside straight to our bedroom. I had already packed a bag days ago. It was hidden in the back of the closet. I pulled it out now. Inside were clothes, my laptop, important documents, everything I needed. Sarah stood in the doorway, watching me with wide, terrified eyes. Where are you going? What are you doing? I pushed past her gently but firmly and walked back downstairs. She was right behind me, crying, pleading. Wesley, stop. Talk to me. Do not leave. We can fix this. I went to the kitchen counter and picked up an envelope I had left there this morning. Inside were the divorce papers. I handed it to her. Divorce papers. Sign them. My voice was steady. Final. Sarah opened the envelope with shaking hands. When she saw what was inside, her whole body started trembling. No. This cannot be happening. Wesley, please. I walked toward the front door. She ran after me, grabbing onto my shirt. Please, give me one more chance. I love you. I made a mistake, but I love you. I stopped and turned to face her one last time. Looked into those eyes that used to make me feel safe. Now, they just looked empty. If you loved me, you would not have done this. I pulled away from her grip and walked out the door. Got in my car. Sarah stood on the front porch, collapsing against the doorframe, sobbing uncontrollably. I looked at her in my rearview mirror as I backed out of the driveway. Part of me expected to feel something. Sadness, regret, anything. But I just felt empty and relieved. I drove away from that house, from that life, and did not look back. I ended up at a quiet coffee shop about 20 minutes away. Found a corner table away from everyone else. Ordered a black coffee I did not really want. Then I pulled out my phone and stared at Lauren's number again. Sarah had interrupted the first call, but she could not stop me now. I hit call. It rang 3 times before a woman answered. Hello. Her voice was friendly, unsuspecting. My throat tightened. This was harder than I thought it would be. Hi, Lauren. My name is Wesley. I do not think we have met, but I need to tell you something about your husband, Derek. Silence on the other end. Then carefully, okay, what about him? I took a deep breath. There was no easy way to say this. Derek has been having an affair with my wife Sarah for the past 3 months. I have proof. Messages, photos, everything. I am sending you an email right now with all the evidence. I am sorry to be the one to tell you this, but you deserve to know. More silence. Then I heard her breathing change. Shaky, uneven. Are you sure? Her voice broke on the last word. I am sure, I said quietly. I wish I was not, but I am. I could hear her crying softly. Thank you for telling me, she finally whispered. I had no idea. I thought everything was fine. I know, I said. I thought the same thing about my marriage. We talked for a few more minutes. I sent her the evidence like I promised. Screenshots of messages, photos, everything I had collected over the past 3 weeks. She thanked me again through her tears and said she was going to confront Derek immediately. I wished her luck and meant it. Then we hung up. I sat there in that coffee shop for a long time staring at my phone. It was done. Everything was out in the open now. No more secrets. No more lies. Just the truth, ugly as it was. I felt a strange sense of calm wash over me. For the first time in 3 weeks, I could breathe. The next few weeks were brutal. I moved into a small apartment across town. It was nothing like our house. No memories here. No ghosts. Just empty walls and second-hand furniture. At night, I would lie awake thinking about Sarah, about the good times we had, about the future we had planned that would never happen now. It hurt. It hurt like nothing I had ever experienced. But I knew I had made the right choice. Sarah tried calling me constantly, left voicemails crying, begging for another chance. She sent long text messages, promising she would change, that it would never happen again, that she loved me more than anything. But I blocked her number. I could not listen to it anymore. Every word felt like another betrayal. She had 3 months to choose me. She chose him instead. There was nothing left to say. I threw myself into other parts of my life. Started going to the gym every morning before work. The physical exhausted helped quiet my mind. I reconnected with old friends I had lost touch with over the years. Guys from college, former co-workers. They listened when I needed to talk. Distracted me when I needed to not think. Their support meant everything. Work became my refuge. I volunteered for extra projects, stayed late at the office. My boss noticed my dedication and gave me a leadership role on a new major project. The recognition felt good. It reminded me that I had value beyond being someone's husband. I was good at my job. I had skills. I had a future. Through mutual friends, I heard updates about Sarah and Derek. Lauren had indeed confronted Derek that same day I called her. She kicked him out of their house immediately, filed for divorce within a week. Sarah lost her job after the affair became office gossip at her company. Apparently, Derek worked with several of her current colleagues. Word spread fast. Her reputation was destroyed. Derek and Sarah did not stay together. Once the affair was exposed, they both realized what they had was not real. It was just excitement, forbidden fruit. When it stopped being secret, it stopped being fun. They went their separate ways, both of them alone dealing with the wreckage they created. I did not feel happy hearing all this. I did not feel vindicated or satisfied. I just felt sad. Sad for all the pain. Sad for Lauren and her kids. Sad for the years Sarah and I wasted. Sad for the trust that was broken and could never be repaired. But I did not regret my decision. Not for a second. Because staying would have meant accepting disrespect. It would have meant teaching myself that betrayal was acceptable if you loved someone enough. And that was a lesson I refused to learn. 6 months after I moved out, the divorce was finalized. I stood outside the courthouse holding the papers in my hand. Officially single. Officially free. I expected to feel something dramatic. Relief or sadness or anger. But I just felt peaceful. Like I had finally closed a painful chapter and could start fresh. I realized something important during those months. Betrayal is one of the most painful things that can happen in a relationship. It shatters your trust, your sense of security, your belief in love. But how you respond to it defines who you are. I could have stayed. I could have tried to forgive and forget. Some people do. Some people make it work. But I knew myself well enough to know I could not. Every time I looked at Sarah, I would have remembered. Every late night at work, every phone call, every moment away from me would have made me suspicious. That is no way to live. So I chose myself. I chose my dignity. I chose to walk away from someone who did not value what we had. It was not about revenge. It was not about making Sarah suffer. It was about knowing my worth and refusing to accept less than I deserved. And that decision, as hard as it was, gave me something I had not felt in months. Freedom. I am not going to lie and say everything is perfect now. I still have bad days. Days where I miss what we had, or what I thought we had. Days where I wonder if I could have done something differently. But those days are getting fewer and farther between. And I know that somewhere out there is someone who will value loyalty the way I do. Someone who will choose me every single day, not just when it is convenient. My life is different now. Smaller in some ways, quieter. But it is honest. There are no lies hiding under the surface. No secrets eating away at the foundation. Just me, rebuilding one day at a time. And that is enough. I looked up at the sky outside the courthouse that day, the divorce papers still in my hand. I smiled for the first time in months. Really smiled. Because I realized something important. The future was still out there waiting for me. And this time, I was not going to lose myself in someone else. This time, I was going to build something real, with someone who deserved it. Sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing are the same thing. And walking away does not mean you are weak. It means you are strong enough to know your worth. So let me ask you something. Have you ever had to make a difficult choice between what was comfortable and what was right? How did you handle it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear your stories. And if this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Share this with someone who might need to hear it. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps someone out there who might be going through something similar. Stay strong, stay true to yourself, and remember that you deserve respect and honesty in all your relationships. Take care.